We're now joined by the head coach of the Ligonier Valley Rams, Mark Zimmerman, his team coming off of another terrific regular season, postseason bound in the 2A bracket. First off, Coach, congratulations on getting back to the playoffs, 2 for 2 as a member of the WPIAL. And I know it's probably a little bit different this year because teams maybe had you as a team that they were trying to knock off. There was a lot of expectations. How did your girls handle those high expectations this year?
Well, they were, they knew, I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the year, that maybe last year we kind of flew under the radar a little bit. People weren't sure what to expect. But I told them this year that's not going to happen. Everybody knows who we are. And you're right. I mean, everybody, tried to play their best game against us. They wanted to beat us, and which was fine for our girls because they got to see, most teams trying hard, going out there, putting forth a good effort, and so we started from day one knowing that people knew who we were and it wasn't going to be a surprise to anybody.
One of the other challenges is you had to break in a lot of new starters this year. Everyone thinks from last year's team about your great pitcher, Maddie Griffin, but although she's back, you lost, I think, 6 or 7 key contributors. Yeah. So how difficult was it to try to get a lot of players those varsity reps and get them prepared without really having much experience?
Well, thank goodness, that most of the girls that stepped in there for us this year, they were on the team last year. They maybe didn't play a big role on the team last year, but they got a lot of reps, this year, with the exception of some freshman girls that have stepped in and moved up. And the one thing, we had a small team this year, small meaning in numbers. And so we were able to concentrate a lot more time on fewer kids. And we were able to make those decisions very early, as to who was going to be here and who was going to be there. And then we just kind of targeted specific training, to try to help these girls be ready for their role, and then we always stress, that just do your job, just try to do your job. Don't worry about anything else. And, so that's kind of what helped us. We had some good girls sitting there. We brought in some, a couple nice freshmen that stepped in here, Faust that's catching and Biz that's playing in the infield. Those two, really helped round out the lineup.
Well, you mentioned everyone just needs to do their job. A player who has done her job as well as anyone for 2 consecutive seasons is Maddie Griffin. And the no-hitters, the perfect game. She recently had a contest where she struck out every single batter she faced. How does she continue to do this game after game?
Well, she's a really, really good talent. I mean, she's a great talent, and she works very, very hard. And she doesn't leave many pitches where they can be hit. And that's, if there's a key to her, that's it. We try to examine each batter, try to get an idea of where we think we can get her out and try to pitch there. And she just delivers the ball, where she wants to. She's got nice velocity, got nice movement on some of her pitches. And, I just think it's a combination of all of those that makes her, makes her very effective.
I'm guessing that she's going to probably get every inning possible in the postseason if things go well, but it's nice to know you have a pretty good fallback plan in Cheyenne Piper. She has really burst onto the scene this year after playing a key role last year. She's done some pitching. She's been terrific at that, but she's also just been a steady presence every day. What has stood out about her performance?
Well, we knew last year, she could throw, and she got to throw a little bit last year. And she throws, she plays through the summer. And, early on this year, we said, well, we're going to try to get her, more reps early so that if, something happens, it's not just like thrown into the ball game, And so our plan was to not pitch Maddie as many games as she did last year. I mean, she really carried the load last year. And, we wanted to try to, give her some easy time, give her some downtime and let Pipe go ahead and pitch. And to which she has, responded very well.
So the bracket comes out in 2A. You get the number 3 seed. How did that align with what you're maybe anticipating?
I think that's probably, about where we were. We lost in the Shannock, up at the Shannock. So, I knew it was going to be hard to get above them. And, but there's other good, Laurel and Shar Houston and all of them, there's a lot of good teams, and, you're going to be seated somewhere. And, there's no use worrying about where you're seated. You're going to, sooner or later, you're going to have to, beat the big dog on the street sometime. So, whether it comes in the first round, third round, second round, doesn't matter. So we were pleased with where we were. We had a nice season, and, we're just going to take them one game at a time and, try to follow it to the end.
And I know, obviously, as a coach, you're focused on the first matchup you have, but just looking at the bracket overall, was there anything that caught your eye, anything that maybe surprised you or stood out?
No, I think most of the teams landed where I thought they were going to be. I had kind of guessed that us and Fraser might have been on the same side of the ledger, but that was just a guess. That was just looking at the teams and saying, well, I think they're going to go here and they're going to go there. But no, nothing surprised me. I mean, I think that I think they do a good job with selecting the teams and seating the teams. And like I said, it doesn't matter where you're seated; it matters what happens when you play somebody. First
round opponent is the number 14 seed Bentworth. What do you know about that team?
I don't even know where they're at. I don't even know where Bentworth High School is. And I'm serious. I don't know. I don't know much about them. We don't spend much time worrying about the other team. We got enough to keep our hands busy worrying about our team. So, and there's nothing we can do about them. Whatever they have. And, we're just going to try to go out there, play our game, get through the 7 innings, get to the next game and pick up whoever we got there. And it'll be the same with them. We're not going to spend a lot of time researching, spending time on somebody else because, you can't control what they do, and we can only control what we do. So we're going to try to, get ourselves as ready as we can.
And it's interesting you say that because I'm sure that's been the case quite a bit over the last couple of years as the newcomers to the WPIAL. Do you think that that's been an advantage or a disadvantage that there's not that familiarity with many of the opponents you're faced?
Well, sometimes I think it's a little bit of an advantage only because sometimes you tend to get, preconceived ideas. If you're around a team for years, and say you've had a lot of success against a certain team for whatever reason, maybe the idea going in there is, oh, well, we've, handled these girls before, and, we'll probably handle them again. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. Sometimes it's good to say, well, I think we're going to handle this team, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen that way. And there's been, a lot of these schools, I didn't even know where they were. Even teams in our section, I had heard of them, and I mostly had heard of them through football. You see all the football scores, all the WPIAL scores were on. And so you would see these schools, but I had no idea where they were, like Seton LaSalle. I had no idea where that high school was. I knew it was in and around Pittsburgh somewhere. Same with Sarah Catholic. I don't even know where they're at. And so, we said, well, we're just going to, take them as they come to get off the bus. We'll get ready to go, play them in.
Final thing for you. Last year, one bad inning kept you out of a WPIAL championship game, but you did rebound, made it all the way to the state championship. So what would you consider a successful postseason run here in 2022?
Well, even if we follow the same things we did last year would be successful. Obviously, we'd like to win the WPIAL. We'd like to follow that tournament to the end. And then we'd like to, pick up that last win in the state tournament, So, and again, we're going to worry about Bentworth first, and then we'll worry about the other stuff down the line. But that's kind of what we're gearing for. We want to follow the WPIAL till the end, and then let them shake out the thing for the state tournament and go wherever we got to go.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations on another great regular season. Good luck in the postseason.
Thank you.
That's Mark.
It's always
Zimmerman.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely. Mark Zimmerman, head coach of the Ligonier Valley Rams.